Hi guys, it's 100% Joy mini series again, and today I'm going to be talking about something that is really common, and that is heartbreak. I read a story somewhere about a lady who was in a relationship with a guy, and the relationship was like they were a match made in heaven. And she was so in love with him. She thought, she had met her Mr. Right and all that. And eventually, at some point, fast forward, he traveled that weekend and told her he was going for his friend's wedding, and he ended up going for his own wedding. When she finally found out, she actually lost it. Something snapped and she lost her senses and went insane. She had to be committed to a psychiatric hospital for treatment. Now, that's a very sad story. That's a very, very sad story and very sad thing to happen to anyone. There are a lot of people who have found themselves in either therapy or in the psychiatric hospital because of this kind of situations, because they were heartbroken and their mind couldn't take it. They lost it. It's sad, but it's the reality of the world we live in. It happens every day. When we come back, let's look at heartbreak from a different perspective. Don't go away. I'll be right back. Welcome back. We're talking about heartbreak. Would you believe me if I told you that whatever happens to you, good or bad, is happening ultimately for a good reason? Let me take that again. Whatever happens to you, good or bad, is ultimately happening for a good reason. In the end, it all works together for your good. So that means that if you're in a relationship and somehow that relationship ends up not working out, it's because that relationship wasn't meant to work out. But most times we hang on to what is not working, in depriving ourselves of what is meant to be. Everyone we meet in life is either a blessing or a lesson. That means that when you find yourself in a relationship, your partner is either there to teach you something or to be a team player to build your life with you. Either way, at the end of the day, whatever role your partner is playing is going to work out ultimately for your good. It might not look like that at first, but that's what happens. Think about it. Think about one of the most horrible experiences you've had in relationship. If I asked you now, what did you learn from it? You'd be shocked. The lessons that you've learned, how much you've grown, and how much of a better person you are. At least, if not anything, when you come out of a relationship that doesn't work out, you know for a fact what you would not want in your next relationship. You know for a fact how you would not want to be treated in your next relationship. Think about it. So at the end of the day, it didn't work out, but something good came out of it. You grew. You learned something. But you see, we never look at this perspective when it happens because of our emotions and how we feel and how it felt so good. We don't want to let it go. We think we miss them so much, but really what we miss is how they make us feel. And that means that there are other people out there who can make you feel the same way. If only you can give up on what is gone, let go of your past, and push forward into what is awaiting you in the future. You must know that there's always something better. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the ways to handle heartbreak so we don't self-destruct. Don't go away, I'll be right back. Hi guys, I'm back. So I'm laughing because my producer is saying that, is there really a way to manage heartbreak? It's like I'm trying to tell people to expect it. And I told him, I said, it's a cold world. There's 7 billion people on the planet. Of course, people are going to experience heartbreaks. It might not just be in relationship. It might be with a job that you're on, or it might be an exam you wrote and you failed. It might, it could be anything. I mean, suffering, a heartbreak might not really only be about relationship. And that's the truth. It's not just only about relationship. You might just be disappointed about something you are expecting. Getting your heart broken is not only about a romantic relationship. Maybe you're expecting something. Maybe you've been working on something for a long time and then for some reason you got disappointed. Because getting your heart broken is like getting disappointed, getting betrayed, you're not getting something that you wanted. So, hey, we can look at it from all that angle, but it's important to discuss the ways that we can manage it so that it doesn't affect us to the point of either us self-destructing or it putting our lives at a standstill. Perspective is very important. Clarity is very important. Now, if a relationship goes bad, what do? Our first instinct is to cry, get angry, wail, or probably even, try to talk the person back into that relationship or beg or, lament to as many people as you can. It's always the false emotions that raise their ugly heads first. All the false emotions raise their ugly heads. You want to have conversations. You want to convince the person to come back. You want to cry. You want to deprive yourself of food. Some people even want to kill themselves because of another human being. But think about it. In the past, when you have felt so disappointed or betrayed by a person or something you were expecting, did it matter 1 year down the line? In fact, did it matter a month, 2 down the line? No. You were able to move on from it. Something better came, or you learned to have a better perspective towards your situation. That is why perspective is very important. First of all, take a deep breath, calm down, and try to understand why what is happening is happening. For you to do that, you have to make sure you don't allow your emotions take the better part of you. Another thing that will help you deal with a heartbreak is knowing who you are, knowing what you deserve. Understanding the fact that if somebody cared so much about you, they wouldn't go out on a limb to hurt you. And if people don't just wake up and want to hurt other people, it means that if the person is making a decision to walk away from that relationship, it's because that is not where he or she wants to be at that point in time. It's important for you and for that person to be able to respect and accept that decision. Why? If you're going to make the person stay where he or she doesn't want to stay, the person will stay with you out of pity. And trust me, you don't want to be in a relationship where someone is staying with you out of pity. If he or she needs to go, then you have to let them go. Because love doesn't keep people in bondage. Love sets people free. So if you love the person enough, if you really do love or care about the person you're with, then you should love them enough to let them go if they want to go. Because love means that whether the person is with you or not, you should love the person enough and love yourself enough to let them go. Because making anybody stay with you for the wrong reasons is only going to make you very unhappy. So it's important, no matter how hard it is, no matter how difficult is it to accept that this relationship you've been in for 3 years, for 5 years, for 7 months, for 10 years is over. You need to love yourself enough to accept it and to let it go. Now, you're letting it go, believing and being optimistic that something better is in store for you. But above all, it's important for you to sit down and ask yourself, what have I learned from this experience? What is it that this pain is teaching me? What is it teaching me? It might be teaching you something you need to deal with personally, maybe a character trait that you need to let go of, something you need to work on in yourself. The pain might be trying to teach you what you shouldn't accept in relationships or what you should be looking out for in relationships. Whatever it is, it's very important that through the period of healing, you ask yourself, what am I supposed to learn from this? You ask yourself, what did I do to contribute to this? Or what did I do to contribute to this pain that I'm going through? All these questions and the answers are very important because they help in your healing process. Because the moment you accept your responsibility for what must have happened, your responsibility might be as little as, I shouldn't have been in this relationship in the first place. It could be as little as, oh, I enabled my partner. That is why I find myself in this situation. If it's not a relationship, if it's probably an exam you failed, it could be that, oh, I didn't read enough. I didn't dedicate enough time to my study. It could be anything. You need to be able to accept responsibility for your own role in what has happened to you. As long as you don't accept responsibility and you keep blaming other people for what has happened in your relationship, you're never going to heal from it. You're never going to get over it. But until you accept that, you know what, this was my role. This is what I did that made this happen. In as much as, the other person has his own, part to play. But what is important is your part. And this is what I've learned. This is what I wouldn't permit again. And this is what I will do next time. At that point, healing begins because you've come to terms with your situation and you have made peace with it. I am not saying this is the blueprint on dealing with heartbreaks, but this has worked for me. I also have had my own fair share of heartbreaks. So it has worked for me. And I have found out that when you take your mind or take your eye off the pain and focus on what the pain is teaching you, it gives birth to growth. Growth that when you look in the mirror, you are happy about the woman or the man you are becoming because you've learned something through your pain. So whoever you are out there right now, going through a heartbreak or going through pain because of something you've lost, change your perspective. Don't dwell on the pain. Don't wallow in self-pity. Don't spend more time crying. Ask yourself the questions that you need to ask to heal. What is this pain teaching me? In what way am I responsible for what I'm going through? What do I need to learn from this? The answers will come, believe me. And when they come, your healing process begins, and then you can move forward. But another thing I would like you to know is that there's a lot of amazing possibilities out there for you. The world is filled with so much beauty. Most times when we find ourselves in a relationship, we always think that that's the ultimate, it's the only place we can be in the world at that point in time. But have you noticed how you found yourself in a better place at some point? Maybe you're married right now. Think about the relationship you had before you got married. And then think about your marriage right now. What do you think? Aren't you grateful that that person messed you up? I remember a friend of mine who was crying at the point her relationship ended, and she was crying and she was really heartbroken. And I told her, I said, one day you're going to thank him for leaving you. And not too long ago, she actually mentioned to me that, oh, Joy, you told me I was going to be grateful that he left me. Today, I'm happily married to an amazing person. I sometimes I can't even imagine what my life would have been with, my ex. And you see, that's how life works out. So whatever it is, if you're losing something right now, don't see it as you're losing something. See it like you're learning from something, and there's something ahead of you that you're going to gain that is way bigger, way better, and way more rewarding than where you're coming from. Until I see you next time, there's so much love and life out there for you to experience. Wipe your tears and go on living your life. Life is beautiful.